It is the Coaster Battleman here, bringing you an awesome video. The top 10 rattles on coasters that I have been on. Roller coasters tend to have rattles over the years of their time running, but some roller coasters have pretty bad rattles, like Raptor at Cedar Point, or Batman the Ride, or Diamondback at Kings Island. And then some coasters, like Intamin coasters, which some of them are on this list, were built by Intamin, have some very good rattles to them. And let's move on. Number 10 is the Boss. This is a fairly shaky wooden coaster, especially when you're in the second row to the last row. I've only rode this coaster in the first 2 rows, but I'm a fan of this coaster, not the biggest fan, but front row is a lot of fun on this ride. But all the other rows aren't the greatest on the Boss. But overall, this is a pretty fun terrain wooden coaster. Nice, long. Overall, it's not the smoothest, but the front row is definitely the best seat on this coaster. And overall, the rattle, not bad in the front row. It's pretty good in the front row, but if you're in any other row, it does kind of stink. Number 9 is Screaming Eagle, another wooden coaster at Six Flags St. Louis. These coasters that were built way back when, I don't know. But Screaming Eagle, at one point it was the tallest coaster out there, and possibly the best coaster in the world at one point. I don't know, but this coaster has some good airtime, has kind of a rattle, but the rattle makes up for it. It's a good wooden coaster rattle. Overall, this coaster is a lot of fun. The airtime is fun. Overall, fun ride. Number 8 is V2, Vertical Velocity. This is a very fun coaster, and I believe it might have a rattle. I'm not sure fully, but as this coaster ages, I bet this coaster will have a pretty good rattle. I don't know, but I know Wicked Twister does have a rattle, and Wicked Twister's coming in at number 7. This coaster is pretty good. Overall, the 2 twisters are actually fairly intense, which I like about Wicked Twister. Overall, this coaster isn't the most popular coaster at Cedar Point due to having super good coasters like Millennium Force, Top Thrill Dragster. But overall, Wicked Twister, pretty good ride. Overall, there's a rattle on the launch, and it's not bad. Overall, I'm pretty big fan of Wicked Twister. The rattle isn't that bad. Number 6 is the Beast at Kings Island. This coaster's rattle is amazing. Well, it is kind of bumpy. This coaster, the Beast, may be a little bumpy. I don't really mind the rattle. It suits the Beast a lot because this coaster is an old ride, has some intensity to it, the sensation of speed through turns and straight sections. Overall, the Beast, very fun coaster, and that rattle makes it a very legendary ride as well as the length of the ride. Overall, I'm a big fan of the Beast. Very long, very fun. Number 5 is Top Thrill Dragster. This coaster basically has a rattle through the beginning of the ride, from the first launch till when you get to the middle of the top hat is where you find the rattle. And then when you pick up more speed, there's a nice rattle to the ride. Overall, Top Thrill Dragster has a good rattle, and it's not the most noticeable unless you're on the launch, and you're having lap bars, which is good. Overall, I'm a big fan of Top Thrill Dragster, very intense, the rattle's good, very fun. Number 4 is Raging Bull. For once, a B&M Hyper coaster has a good rattle. I'm a big fan of Raging Bull. Overall, it ain't the best with like airtime, but this coaster is all about the bank turns. It's not really about the airtime due to not having an out and back layout, and it doesn't really need an out and back layout. I think Raging Bull's a great B&M hypercoaster with some pretty good airtime moments. Overall, very fun ride. I'm a big fan of Raging Bull, great capacity, and the rattle's pretty good on Raging Bull. I'm a big fan of Raging Bull's rattle. Number 3 is American Eagle. I love American Eagle's rattle. It's very good, in my opinion. It's like a nice wooden coaster rattle, and it's also an Intamin wooden coaster, so that's another reason why the rattle's good. Plus, this coaster is pretty smooth, and the airtime isn't the greatest on this ride, but this coaster's smooth, has a good rattle. Overall, I'm a big fan of American Eagle, one of the best coasters at Great America. Number 2 is Mr. Freeze Reverse Blast. I'm a big fan of this coaster. It's one of my personal favorites, even though there is a clone of it, which does kind of stink. But this coaster is a very fun cloned coaster at Six Flags St. Louis. The rattle is actually pretty good on this ride compared to Flight of Fears, even though they have the same track type. Mr. Freeze has a great rattle, and it's just super good, but almost as good as Millennium Force's, which is number 1. Millennium Force has the best rattle on any coaster out there. Very good rattle, very fun ride, overall strong layout. Overall, Millennium Force is my number 1 coaster with a rattle, and number 1 coaster in general. I know I want to ride Fury and Intimidator 305. I might like those better, but overall, I'm a big fan of Millennium Force, and it's my number 1. Thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos.